Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining on this Saturday Satsang program. Srivats Prabhu. So today we have a new speaker. I will briefly introduce about him. So this is none other than our Srivats Prabhu. So he is actually a senior staff engineer at Qualcomm. So he keeps getting promotion after promotion. Such a very talented person he is. And not only that, so you might have seen him helping me like running the program and so on. So he is such an amazing Vaishnava that you see anytime after Sunday program or major like any big program that happens, he always helps with the temple cleanup, kitchen cleanup. So whatever the help that is needed, so Srivats Prabhu will be there. So the hallmark or like the progress of a Vaishnava can be measured in the way they do these menial services and all. So I thought it is very apt for us to hear from Srivats Prabhu. And I know many of the devotees are in beach Harinam today. So many people are there online as well. So let's hear some Krishna Katha from him. Today he'll be speaking on the topic
of ego and what is ego and basically what does Bhagavad Gita say about ego.
So Bhagavad Gita perspective of what actually ego is and how it's relevant for our life. So let's hear from him.
Krishna. Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, yeah. Let's start with Radha Madhav, Prabhu. Yeah. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Thank you for coming for the Saturday program, and this part of the program there'll be a small lecture followed by some wonderful prasadam, and the curtains will open back up at 8:15. Thank you. Before we start, we need to start by invocation. So Om Gyananti Mirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namah Shri Chaitanya Manabhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swaya Rupam Kadamayam Dadhadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Padam Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham Tamsha Jai Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Vaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. It's okay. Can everyone hear me? Okay. So a couple of Sundays ago, we were after the Sunday feast. A couple of us were sitting outside by the patio, and we were discussing about what is a soul and what is an ego. And there were some interpretations of it. So I thought it would be only the correct thing to do by looking into Bhagavad Gita and see what it is from a scriptural perspective. So can anyone over here tell me what ego means for them? Yeah. Yeah.
So I think what self-ego means is that like thinking that everything like belongs to you and like thinking that this is your body, this is your everything and but not like thinking who is actually the owner of everything, who's the owner of the soul, who's the owner of everything.
Wonderful. That's very good. Prabhu, do you have any? Yes.
Like, I mean, it's kind of, we feel always egoistic. Like, I mean, it's all me. It's all about me. I am, and everything is because of me attitude. Rather than thinking it's nothing on me, it's all about others, or through God, it's more about myself and I-centric.
Yeah, wonderful. So when I started, or when my interpretation of it before getting into any of the scriptural knowledge was, I tied ego to being egoistic. So it's being arrogant. And to be honest, that is a manifestation of ego, but that isn't ego itself. So what is ego is basically identification of oneself. Now in Sanskrit, we call it ahamkar. And ahamkar is combined with two words, aham and kar. Aham is self and kar is maker or doer, like you rightfully said. So I am doing things, so I am doing that. So what happens is when we start thinking along those lines, that forms a construct and an identity of who we are. Now, when you think about identity, what does it mean? It's basically an understanding and an explanation of who we are. Now, who are we? If you go back to when we were kids, toddlers, we were born in some part of the world, in some country, in some village, and our parents gave us a name. And then from then on, we kind of see the world through our senses and experience it through that senses and come to a conclusion that this is who I am. But okay, that does make sense if you're trying to interact with the world and if you're trying to make sense of it. If you have these labels, our brain is able to distinguish between what things are, and it gives us a way of interpreting and understanding the world. But here's the question: is that always right? Is that the right way to do that? Senses by themselves, are they right? Are they always right? We'd like to think they are right, but no. There are so many examples. Badri Narayan Swami, he gives a beautiful example of an optical illusion where there's a horse and there's a duck. Not a horse, I apologize. It's a rabbit or a duck. Yeah. So if you look at it from one perspective, you see it's a rabbit. And then if you look at it long enough, you see it's a duck. So our senses can easily be tricked that way. Another would be, think about if there's a person behind a wall, let's say behind this door, there's a person, then we don't know, our eyes cannot see through the door or cannot see through the wall. So we don't know if there's a person over there. So our senses are very limited in what we can do. Now, there are like microorganisms and bacteria that are so small that we cannot even see with our own eyes, unless, of course, we use a microscope and, try to really look into it. Until then, our own senses are deceiving. Think about like a mirage or like you see water in a desert, There are like so many things that happen in the world that question if our senses are truly to be trusted or not. They are inaccurate by themselves. You can go after each and every sense like that, like even sense of taste, like you can have the best tasting food but then feel sick hours later. So you could hear something from the crowd and misunderstand or misinterpret it. So all of these senses are inherently limited, can be illusory, and it's heavily conditioned. Now, this is my personal example. A few years back, I went to visit my uncle in Texas, in Austin, Texas. There they had arranged this tour where they take you to a cave. And as part of the tour guide took us all in the center of the cave. Basically, we could see the stalactites and stalagmites. It was wonderful. And then he said, to truly experience how dark the caves can get, he turned off the light. It was silent, no one was speaking, it was completely pitch dark. And all of a sudden, I started seeing these shapes and these figures in front of me. And that's when the tour guide said that, oh, anything that you're seeing is just an illusion presented by your brain because your eyes are not able to see anything. So it's trying to make sense of your surrounding. So that in itself is, big proof that we cannot trust our senses. So if we cannot trust our senses, then any explanation of who we are that is derived from that senses is inherently flawed. So the big question is, then who are we? It's been a question that's been a lot of philosophers has pondered for ages, and everyone has come up with different explanations. But what does our Bhagavad Gita say? Bhagavad Gita says that we are not our mind or body, but we are our eternal soul. Now, I'd like everyone to go to chapter 2, verse 13. That should be. That's page number 78. Would anyone like to read this? Okay. Sure, go ahead. Yes. Yes. 78, Prabhu.
देहिनोऽस्मिन् यथा देहे कौमारं यौवनं जरा ततः देहान्तरप्राप्तिर्धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति.
Very good.
Okay. Translation?
Okay, you can go ahead.
As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change.
Beautiful. So if you look at the second line, so in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes onto another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such change. Now, if you focus at one word over here in the shloka, I would say that it's dehina. Now, can someone say what's the meaning of dehina? Why not? Sure.
Of the embodied.
Yes. And what does it mean to embody something?
To the embodied, like it's in the body, but like we cannot, because of our limited senses, we cannot see it.
Wonderful. Anyone else would like to go after what does it mean to embody? Trapped in a body. Yeah. 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 So all very right understanding of embodiment, but another way of seeing it is also embody means to give a tangible or visible form to something. So if you're trying to interpret the shloka, this clearly states that there is an entity that is witnessing through the body, it's witnessing life happen. So it's witnessing your childhood, it's witnessing youth, and it's witnessing old age and death. So clearly there is an entity that is seeing this, and that entity is what we call as jiva or soul. Now, if you start thinking that I am not the soul, but I'm this body, and if you start looking at it through that lenses, then you start to fear death. You start to cling on to life, a youth, and you lament aging. Oh, I'm so old, People feel bad about that. And that is false ego. If you identify yourself as a soul, and if you observe it like that, then it'll be like changing of clothes. You're not lamenting for changing of clothes, right? So look at it like that. Okay. Now, so now we know that we are not the body and we are the soul. Now, if we can proceed to chapter 2, verse 20, that is page number 86. Would you like to read again? Sure.
न जायते म्रूयते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Very good. Yeah. Okay. Would you like to read the translation?
Okay. For a soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Perfect. So now that we know that the soul is who we are, and the soul by itself is eternal, think about it like it's an energy. And in school, we have learned the law of energy conservation, which is energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can take one form to another. So this is basically how the soul takes one body into another, into another. So we know it's eternal. And if you think about now Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, that adds a little bit more flavor to what a soul is. It says that soul is Satchitananda Vigraha. So it's Sat means eternal, Chit means consciousness, Ananda means blissful, and Vigraha is the form. So the true form and the true essence of the soul is full of knowledge. It's eternal, full of knowledge, and blissful. So here, there's one question that people might ask. If we are the soul, and if the soul itself has all the knowledge and it's all blissful, then why does the soul or jiva choose the material body and fall into this illusion? Why is that even there, So Bhagavatam also provides the understanding of it and the interpretation of it. It says that soul is basically fragments of God Krishna, and with that, just like a water droplet from the ocean, we get some properties of the Supreme. And part of that is a free will that comes with it. And that free will is what allows the soul to choose whether to serve Krishna, or the God, or whether to enjoy independent from him. So when you make the choice of enjoying life or enjoying this material body independent from Krishna, that's the birth of false identity, and that's what we call ego. Your soul basically starts to identify with the material body. Now, if you look at this material body and the material senses, they're basically composed of two different kind of bodies. One is the gross element body, and the other is the subtle body, Sukshma Sharir. So the gross is basically, your physical body, the body that we have, and that's comprised of the five elements: your earth, water, fire, air, ether. And the Sukshma Sharir, or the subtle body, is composed of your mind, your intellect, and ego. Now, all of these elements are basically controlled by three modes of material nature. Does anyone know here what are the, oh God, star pupil?
Goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Perfect. Do you know what we call it in Sanskrit? Mode of goodness?
Sattvam,
Uh-huh.
Guna, Tamoguna,
Uh-huh.
and
Raja.
Rajaguna.
Very good. So basically, these subtle elements that we have, these elements is what carries your desires, your memories, and your karma through lifetimes. So anything that we do, anything that we desire, it creates an impression upon the soul, and that's what carries on through lifetime. Now, if we are bound by this forces of material nature, we want to enjoy this material body, then with that comes suffering to all jivas. So if we choose to associate with ahamkara or false ego, then that's the root of any of the bondage we have, and that's what traps the soul in the false identity. And this is what gives rise to your desires, the pride, and like you mentioned, ownership or doership. I am the doer. I own this, you know. But with that comes suffering as well. So now the question is, I don't want to suffer. I want to be blissful. I want to be in touch with my true identity. How do I go away from the suffering? Now that is at the very end of Bhagavad Gita, and a verse that many of us are aware of, which is chapter 18, verse 66. And tell the page number. Yes, 705. And does anyone want to guess? I think a lot of people already know it. Yeah. 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 Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo Mokshinashya. Wonderful. So Krishna talks about it in Gita and says, forget all the labels, forget everything you associate yourself with, all varieties of religion, just forget all of that and just surrender upon me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions and not to fear. So if you want true liberation, we have to detach ourselves from the identity of which is derived from our mere senses and switch that identity towards something which is our true essence, our true nature, which is we are servants of Krishna, servants of God. Once we switch that perspective towards that, we find our connection back to our real, a real soul, a real Atma. We find that connection back to that, and we find the true knowledge and the true bliss that the soul has to provide. One of the analogies that I like to give of how to think about soul is, think if you're trapped in a room and you look at the world outside through just a window, and the window is fully dusty, it's smeared, it has cracks on it, and if you're looking at the outside world through that, if you've never seen a tree, if you've never seen a river, if you've never seen a bird, animal, if you're looking at it only through that lenses, it is going to give you a false perspective of how the reality is. So that's why it's very important to listen to what our gurus and the great sages have understood this and told us. And to see the truth, we have to surrender. And how do we surrender? The first thing we do is one thing that is recommended in this Kali Yuga is to do japa or chanting. And we typically, one round is 108 times, and we have the Maha Mantra written over here or everywhere pretty much. It's very simple, and for someone who has never done a japa, for them to do it even for the very first time, you will start feeling that nectar, that joy. And once you start feeling it, you'll want more and more of it. And once you want more and more of it, you start getting into the process of spiritual enlightenment. So any questions, comments, anything else anyone has to say? Interpretation? Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks for the explanation. It actually really um, helped me learn a lot.
Thank you. It's my first time giving a lecture, so anything that good that anyone's taking, it's only coming from Krishna. It's not me. Anything that I may have said that is wrong is my own thing. So, thank you. Anyone else?
You don't identify. If you make something wrong, you cannot, you don't have to identify with that.
Yeah.
It's so beyond that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you're watching a movie or a TV show and you watch at the character, you look at him going through life or something, and if he starts to suffer, that doesn't mean you're suffering. But sometimes we get so engaged in that story that we like to think that we are the ones who are getting hurt, or we are the ones. Yeah, we are mere observers. So we are the soul. We are just observing through the body, and we are not experiencing it. The soul cannot be. Bhagavad Gita goes into deep nature of it. It cannot be slain. It cannot be tortured. It's eternal. So, okay. Prabhu, do we have time to do one round of japa?
So if anyone has any questions or
Any other
comments,
questions?
I'll ask you one question.
Sure.
So, what is a necessity of understanding about this ego, the concept of ego? What is Gita's perspective on what ego is, and why should we know about it? So why can't we say I could say I can stick to the moral codes of what a basic human being is, like I'll do good and be good. Why not that itself is not enough? And or what is the problem with it? And why should we have to take an extra endeavor and understanding what that ego and all that?
That's a good question. So if we look at it from, hey, if I'm a good person, I'll do some things, what does it mean to be good? You need to understand that. And how do you know what is good? From everyone has their own understanding and interpretations of what good is. We do have some subjective understanding of, hey, if I, let's say, feed the poor, it's a good thing, so I'll have good karma back. But that inherently doesn't explain why there is suffering. Why is there poverty? Why are there wars? Why people are dying? That inherently does not explain that. So if that explanation is not complete, one starts to ponder and speculate. And like Prabhu, I think even you have mentioned in some of your lectures, Anuman Praman, like you can start to build up a knowledge based off of that experiences, and then it's the scientific way of doing it. And when you do that, what happens is you build it up, but then you realize that, oh, this is not complete, so it breaks. And then it takes lifetime after lifetime just to build that knowledge. And what Bhagavad Gita has to offer is that knowledge that people have, the great sages have over many lifetimes, and they have seen things, they have interpreted things, they understand it very well. So when you get that perspective and when you're looking at it from that lens, everyone, it's a free will, like we said. We can choose to use our free will to build our knowledge up, which would take an eternity, and then you'll see more suffering. And if Srimad Bhagavatam has to be believed, what they talk about Kali Yuga, it keeps getting worse and worse. So there is going to be more suffering. So why is there suffering? How can I relieve myself from such suffering? To do that, we need to surrender onto the knowledge that Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam or the scriptures have to offer. Once we do that, then it's like flicking a perspective. It's like shining a light at using a lens that is not clear if you are looking at it from a material perspective and building knowledge. But if we switch that to a cleaner lens, a clear mirror, then we see the truth. And that's what.
Excellent class, bro.
Thank you.
Just one brief comment.
Sure.
So just going with the summary of the class, this is a very important topic, especially understanding about what is the true ego is and what is the danger of falling into false ego. If we see Bhagavad Gita, when so whatever the verses that you have said, Dehinosminyata Dehe, or even the discussion of false ego and all, Krishna opens this discussion in the Bhagavad Gita with this concept itself. In the second chapter itself, Krishna will speak about like what the Atma Gnan we say. What is the self? What is the what is actually the true identity? The reason is because we see Arjuna is one of the example where he misidentifies his position and tries to make decisions which are not appropriate. So Krishna gives the entire knowledge of what this concept of ego is according to the Shastras in second chapter, and in third chapter, after giving all the knowledge, he tells them what is the danger of like just subscribing to the material concept of false ego. Prakritih kriyamanani gunaih karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate, Krishna tells. That is, the people who are bewildered by this concept of false ego, and then they think that only they are the actual doers. So ahankara vimudhatma, so the ahankara concept he told. So these ahankara vimudhatma, delusioned people, kartaham iti manyate, they think that they are the doers of the activities. So by thinking that they are the doers, they are prone into illusion and they suffer perpetually, like the cases of Ravana or any Asura that the Puranas give. But understanding that real identity, what it is, that is given by the Shastras, we will know that the constitutional position, that the real identity of ourselves is to put Krishna as the supreme enjoyer and supreme controller, and thinking ourselves are mere partial doers, but he is the ultimate the director of the activities. Then we do the activities which are beneficial to ourselves and perfect our life and go back to Godhead. And also our activities will be beneficial to the overall human beings as well. Otherwise, if we keep doing like the last question that I asked, thinking that, oh, this is so-called correct, so-called wrong and all, then we keep making mistakes and we will suffer and we make other living beings also suffer. So Shastras is actually a well-wisher to us, which actually gives us that instructions where to perfect our life by giving this right definitions about these concepts. Very nice class, bro. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Very nice. So we'll do a one round of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. I don't think we have beats. If anyone have,
I can look there, Prabhu. I think there is.
then I'll check.
We don't have enough beads, we can just.
Okay.
Yeah, chant.
Okay.
Continue. Let him say whenever the thing is over. Tell Jason.
Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Thank you for coming, and I think we should be serving prasadam outside, and we can line up for that. And 8:15, the curtains would open for darshan again. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining. So if you have seen, it only takes like 7.5 to 8 minutes for us to do one round. So tomorrow is Ekadasi. So 20th is tomorrow Ekadasi in our San Diego time. So you can actually start from tomorrow, like just do one round per day. You can start from there. So many of the monks that we see, we practice like we do like 16 rounds per day. So like that you can start from one round, and Ekadasi is a very dear day to the Lord Hari. That's why we fast from rice and beans and grains. And so you can, anyone who didn't start yet, you can actually take that from tomorrow onwards. I'll chant one round like that. You can take that, they say Sankalpa like that. And anyways, like this every Saturday we keep having this program. We discuss some of the aspects of, like say Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, like that. We have been doing some series. There will be another series that's coming up. So maybe it's teachings of Queen Kunti, but we'll finalize like in 1-2 weeks and we'll let you know. Thanks for coming. And tomorrow we have Sunday feast. Please, you can join, like whoever one is interested. Thank you everyone. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.